Chapter 343. So much. Who's the one in control right now between the two of you? Who are you? Al asked subconsciously. Me. Two voices answered at the same time. Both voices were extremely charming, but they were easily distinguished from one another. Wang Dong's voice was crisp and lovely, while Wang Qiu's voice had a hint of cold arrogance. Who are you? Al had a headache. If he hadn't needed Wang Qiu's ferocious strength, he really wouldn't have brought her today. I'm in charge of close combat abilities, while she controls all the other energy-based attacks and the other auxiliary abilities. Wang Qiu's voice rang out once more, and she explained the situation properly. A thought appeared in Who are you? Al's head. If you two can coordinate so well, isn't that a lot better than a single person controlling your fusion skill? But aren't fusion skills typically controlled by only one party? How can you two? Wang Dong snapped. Is this the right time to delve into this? Let's get down to business. We've absorbed that Soul Sage's strength, and we can temporarily maintain this state. As she spoke, the golden butterfly dragon transformation's incredibly beautiful figure picked up the life guardian blade that had dropped to the ground. The second floor was a lot smaller than the first floor. It had about a third of the first floor's surface area, but just this one third could still be considered extremely spacious. There weren't that many trunks and cases here, and only now could Who are you divert his attention to examining them. He had been focused on the various traps and mechanisms when his spiritual avatar followed Li Chong into this place, so it was only now that he truly felt how wealthy the Sun Moon Empire was. There were more than 30 different types of rare metals stored on the second floor. Furthermore, these rare metals were very expensive and quite valuable. Every single type was exponentially more expensive than the ones they had seen on the first floor, and this was especially so for the 7 or 8 rare metals that were stored deeper inside. There were at least 5 different kinds that Who are you had heard of, but never seen before. These rare metals were a lot smaller in volume, but that was just relative. Their mass had to be calculated in tons, at the very least. The rare metals in this warehouse couldn't be gauged with money. Who are you? Al's spiritual undulations rippled vigorously and immediately informed the 3 girls about the traps and mechanisms on this floor. Are we going to take everything here and leave, or are we pushing forward? Xiao asked. Who are you? Al answered. We'll do it this way. Xiao, you can start packing things into our storage type soul tools according to my instructions. We will only choose the expensive ones, not the ones we need. Just take whichever's valuable, and we can trade them with the Douluo continent's 3 native empires for other metals if the need arises. Donga, Qiu, you two will go directly to the 3rd gate, and we will open the 3rd gate with my life guardian blade. We don't have to go inside, but we absolutely need to see what's stored inside. If we can't take it away, we have to consider destroying whatever's inside. Okay. The 3 girls acknowledged at the same time. Who are you? Al directed the merged Wang Qiu and Wang Dongga and pushed forward. They quickly arrived at the gate to the 3rd floor. Who are you? Al had his spiritual detection activated this entire time, and even though the golden being wasn't in its combat state, he could still see a lot of things with his spiritual detection. First, he could feel its flourishing blood essence. Wang Qiu's golden dragon strength and blood worked perfectly on their golden butterfly dragon transformation. Second, he could feel its flourishing energy of light that came from Wang Dongga. The 2 girls' auras were almost equal to one another in their golden butterfly dragon transformation, and neither party possessed any conspicuous advantage. Their speed and soul power had been amplified manifold, and gauging their strength at the pinnacle of what a soul sage could reach was a conservative estimate. Who are you? Al even suspected that their current state could, in some sense, be considered a martial soul true body. The life guardian blade swiftly pierced through the metal gate. This time, stronger soul power was used to operate it, and thus the life guardian blade's adjudication was channeled even more powerfully than before. The golden dragon sphere was also having a good time. It absorbed voluminous amounts of metallic life energy to boost itself, and this divine weapon's aura quickly became a lot more intimidating and ferocious than before. The golden dragon sphere pierced right through a 7-ring soul sage's invincible barrier under the golden butterfly dragon transformation's control, but it could do that mainly because of the metallic energies that were temporarily stored within it. The golden dragon sphere's forte was penetration and piercing. The sphere had also been amplified by tremendous metallic energies, and that made it a lot better at what it did best. The penetration point's attacking strength temporarily reached an 8-ring soul Douluo's level. In other words, Wang Dongga and Wang Qiu had temporarily become an 8-ring soul Douluo with a divine weapon in their possession. The golden dragon sphere was temporarily bearing the power of adjudication, and it converted this adjudication into destructiveness towards living beings. The invincible barrier was energy-based, but it was targeted by 2 divine weapons at the same time, which greatly weakened it. Storage type soul tools were passed to Xiao one after another. Xiao was no longer polite and courteous. Actually, even Who are you? Al was now showing some avarice. Mine, they're all mine. The eyes of Who are you? Al's spiritual avatar sparkled radiantly. He would probably be drooling at this moment if he actually had any saliva. Any other soul engineer would feel the same way if they were in his shoes. In fact, they would probably be in a worse state than Who are you? Al was right now. Yes, this multi-ridged devil gold will belong to us, and that soul forging silver is also ours. Great stuff. Scarlets and soul stunning steel. Fantastic. Pack as much as you can. Hey, what's this? Golden cloud? These things can be considered too luxurious even if they use the craft class 9 soul tools. Why do they have so little of that? They don't even have 1 ton of this. Take everything away. Xiao became a porter under Who are you? Al's command. However, her labor was quite easy and relaxing. Storage type soul tools had become a lot more convenient after so many years of development. The user only had to press them onto the items and infuse some soul power for the item to be absorbed inside the storage type soul tool. Who are you? Al had also taken an enormous starlight sapphire storage type soul tool that resembled a breastplate from the illustrious Virtue Hall some years ago. It was a lot better than the vast majority of other storage type soul tools. The breastplate itself could contain more than all their other storage type soul tools combined. When Who are you? Al had first acquired it, there was still a lot of space left even when there was a giant human-shaped soul tool over 10 meters tall inside. Other attachments could be also added to the breastplate. This thing could absorb all tangible things within 5 meters at once when soul power was infused into it. One sweep cleared out an entire patch of this floor of the warehouse. However, Who are you? Al was still very rational and conscious even though he was overcome by greed, and he reminded Xiao time and time again to avoid the booby traps. The most successful part of their break-in was that they didn't trigger any alarms. Otherwise, how could they have had it so casual and easy? The passcode locks and every other firewall inside this warehouse were too complete. The guards who had left had taken the keys to the 2nd and 3rd floor with them, and they didn't consider the possibility that somebody could break in at all. Anybody who tried to attack the tough gates with brute force would immediately trigger the alarms. It didn't take long before an empty space 100 square meters wide appeared on the 2nd floor. Who are you? Al was only lamenting that he didn't have enough storage type soul tools. They were carrying many storage type soul tools with them, but he could gauge from their current progress that they would be lucky if they could take away a third of everything inside the 2nd warehouse. Thus, they picked most valuable and densest rare metals. Who are you? Al really wanted a colossal storage type soul tool that could pack the entire warehouse inside. Time continued to pass, and the giant starlight sapphire storage type soul tool was finally filled up. The starlight sapphire's radiance was a little dimmer than before. It had been used too much. Who are you? Al wasn't finished yet. Xiao filled up the other storage type soul tools one by one, putting each one away after it was filled to the brim. A high-pitched and shrill voice suddenly rang out from the other side. You, Al, come and take a look. The voice belonged to Wang Dongga. What's happening? What's happening? Who are you? Al felt his heart skip a beat as he hurriedly extended his spiritual detection to the other side. The first thing he noticed was that the gate to the 3rd floor was now open. The good thing about being in his spiritual form was that he could fly wherever he wanted to. Who are you? Al arrived before their golden butterfly dragon in a flash of thought. Who are you? Al was very relieved that the golden butterfly dragon was completely fine. However, his eyes grew slack as he gazed into the 3rd warehouse. The 3rd floor's gate opened up to reveal a flight of stairs that led downwards. This staircase went down for 20 meters, and this was the reason why Who are you? Hadn't seen exactly what was happening when he reached out with his spiritual detection after he heard Wang Dongga's exclamation. The light was dim on the 3rd floor at this moment, and there were several weak soul lamps stowing its walls. A dense metallic aura wafted from within, and it felt extremely eerie and chilly. Who are you? Al subconsciously attempted to swallow some saliva, but he quickly discovered that his spiritual form didn't have any saliva at all. This is We've just hit the jackpot. What did Huo Yuao see? He saw a large metal forest. Yes, he was staring at a metal forest, a massive metal that didn't seem to have an end in sight. According to Huo Yuao's initial judgment, the warehouse's first floor contained relatively normal rare metals, while relatively more valuable metals were stored in the second floor. The third floor should be smaller than the second floor, and he expected to see some kind of precious treasure, or perhaps some top-tier soul tools. That was why he wanted to take a look. Furthermore, he had already made up his mind. Even if they found something good on the third floor, they had to do as much as they could to destroy it. He couldn't risk the 3 girls entering to retrieve the things inside, as he didn't know what the defense mechanisms and firewalls were like. But when he actually witnessed everything on the third floor at this moment, he realized that his judgment had been wrong. Very, very wrong. First, the third floor was a lot larger than he had predicted. It might be 10 times larger than the first floor. Yes, 10 times. Otherwise, how could he feel as if this floor was endless even though he was standing at a high vantage point? The staircase led down into a spacious courtyard. The first things that entered his field of view were lines of soul cannons. There were enormous class 4 soul cannons in the first row. These soul cannons fired very quickly, and were very precise, able to reach more than 500 meters away. However, they were quite large, which meant they had wheels, and somebody had to push or pull them around. A class 4 soul engineer without any milk bottles could fire more than 30 rounds from one continuously. There were thousands of such soul cannons in this warehouse. Furthermore, he was looking at the weakest ones. Endless cases were stacked neatly, and what did Huo Yuao see with his spiritual power? He saw endless soul ray guns and small-scale soul cannons. And they were all class 4 or class 5 soul tools. There was something even more frightening. He saw cases of stationary soul cannon shells, and case after case of sealed milk bottles. The amount of sealed milk bottles should be the fewest amongst the other soul tools. What did this thing do? Sealed milk bottles allowed normal soldiers who weren't soul engineers to carry soul tools into war. There weren't that many of them, but there were at least thousands stored in this place. It wasn't hard to guess that the illustrious Virtue Hall had started manufacturing them en masse as soon as they had devised this technology. The most powerful soul tools Huo Yuao could see in this colossal underground warehouse were the class 7 stationary soul cannon shells. There was nothing else above that. However, there were so many of them, and if they were equipped by the military, Huo Yuao's mind spun rapidly as he nervously calculated in his head. The number of soul tools in this place was enough to fully equip more than 4 of the Sun Moon Empire's soul engineer legions. While there were less than 10 soul engineer legions currently serving in the Sun Moon Empire's military, their equipment couldn't be compared to the soul tools in this place. They were probably 2 classes below what was here. This also meant that extracting every single soul tool in this place could immediately arm 4 elite soul engineer legions, and the Sun Moon Empire could create a fully mechanized army of soul engineers. There were also at least 100 simplified all-terrain self-driving forts in this place. With the Douluo continent's 3 native empires' strength, an entire army that consisted only of soul masters probably couldn't withstand the hysterical bombing onslaught from an army like this. The most frightening thing about soul tools was that they would become exponentially more destructive when many were unleashed at the same time. A titled Douluo wouldn't even bother looking at a single class 4 soul cannon, but the same titled Douluo would have to defend himself with everything he had if 100 class 4 soul cannons fired at the same time. If 1,000 such cannons were fired at the same time, the only thing the titled Douluo could do was run. Furthermore, there were so many stationary soul cannon shells in this place, and those things could reach exceptional distances. Those class 7 stationary soul cannon shells could reach more than 5 kilometers. Huo Yuao attempted to swallow another ball of saliva before he snapped his head around and shouted, "Come here, Xiao Xiao. We have work to do, everyone." Thanks so much for watching this video. Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe. Also leave a comment down below with suggestions on what novels to read.